Hello and buckle up because we've got some major astrological events coming up this week. Welcome to the forecast for March 10th until March 16th, which include events like Mercury Retrograde and we have a lunar eclipse. Huge, 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 huge. So let's go ahead and dive into it. My name is Desiree DeLune, your acupuncturist, herbalist, and astrologer. If you love this kind of content, please make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell so that you're notified every time a new video is up. All right, let's get you prepared with what is coming up this week, how to dance with these energies, how to move with them, and really benefit as best as you can with what's available. Surrender into these powerful forces and allow yourself to let go, allow yourself to grow, evolve, change, and heal. And that is the intention of doing these forecasts so that you know how to move with what is being given to you and what is being presented. All right, so we're going to begin with Monday on the 10th. Now, know that a lot of what I speak on Monday will be carrying out throughout the entire week. So Monday tends to give a really good snapshot into the energies for the week. However, we have two other events that go towards the later part of the week, which include the Mercury retrograde, as well as our Pisces. I'm sorry, not Pisces. It's a Virgo. It's a Virgo full moon, and it is a lunar eclipse in Virgo. So let's get into it. Okay, so Monday, first things first, we still have this significant stellium here in Pisces. We're in Pisces season, but you'll see that Sun is getting closer and closer to Saturn. They're going to become conjunct. And as these two come together, there are major themes that present from this combination. One is the need for discipline and the need for taking care of our responsibilities. There is maturity there. It's also in this very creative sign, imaginative, intuitive, spiritual sign of Pisces. So one of the ways that all of this mixes together, along with Neptune in here, mixes together is we start to take greater responsibilities for our creative pursuits. Okay, we take responsibility and seriousness and commitment towards our spiritual practices, towards our own spiritual and creative development. So rather than looking at these things as, oh, it's not important, because let me tell you, this eclipse is going to remind you that these themes and these topics are indeed very important, because they see this North Node, that's part of the eclipse point. The North Node and the South Node indicate where the eclipses happen. So they are not necessarily planets, but they are very potent, concentrated points in the sky. And it's what shows the eclipse. It's what represents the eclipse. So here's the thing. These themes of imagination, creativity, intuition, spirituality, your spiritual giftings, your intuitive giftings, these are very, very serious. And with Saturn being present here, we are being more dedicated to the development and the cultivation of these things. So that is how all of these planets here are working together to express in Pisces. Now, continuing on, we do have Sun that is in a trine with Mars, and even Saturn is in trine with Mars as well. And with that trine, this is going to hang out, well, especially the Sun part, all the way until Sunday. So this whole week, we're going to see this Sun trine Mars. And basically, this is an enhancement of your confidence, of your energy and vitality, of your assertiveness, your proactivity, and you're going to feel a bit more motivated and confident and capable. And this is also stimulates like a lot of, initiative energy, like leadership energy as well. You're going to be able to pursue your goals with ambition, with determination, with enthusiasm. It's like a follow through. We're going to commit and follow through and be very proactive. So I also see this as a positive way to deal with obstacles and challenges, because that's the thing with Mars. Sometimes, there can be issues that come up, but with this configuration, it's easier to overcome. It doesn't feel so difficult and impossible. It's like, yeah, I got this. So you're going to feel empowered and this I got this kind of energy available to you. Okay, another really nice one, because the blue lines tend to be, giftings and just make life a little easier. Hey, you got to have some easiness sometimes. It can't be constantly difficult, struggle bus kind of energy. So we have Sun sextile Uranus. So here's Uranus over here. It's in Taurus. We have this another blue line that looks like a star. And with this sextile, this brings a lot of innovation and also really thinking outside the box and openness to change as well. Look, this whole year, well, really the next like some years, it's so much change, and it's very helpful for us to have these types of aspects here to help us ease into the change well, to accept and adapt and be flexible to the changes. So this brings that ability to grow and adapt, especially when there are unexpected developments, unexpected events that we're going to be dealing with. Okay, so next, one thing I did talk about Neptune, so I'm not going to dive into that too much, but just understand that there is this balance here in Pisces between like idealism, okay, and fantasy and imagination, and practicality. So there is a calling for both. It's not that one is more important than the other. There needs to be a combination of both. So as I mentioned before, it's like this disciplined pursuit of our dreams. There's a pragmatic approach to our spiritual and our artistic goals is what's happening over here. All right. We need to talk about the moon. The moon is in Leo, and moon really influences our internal world and our emotional experience. And so with moon in Leo, there's a lot, it's a fire sign. So it's very warm, it's very vibrant, it's dynamic, it's playful. It's also just very excited. It's heart-centered. You're not going to want to do things that your heart's not into it when moon is in Leo. So there has to be that component of passion for the thing for you to engage with the thing. This is really good for socializing too, and does garner a lot of attention. There is a need for attention. There's a need for connection. When you aren't respected or adored, that's not going to fly on this day. So there is almost like you need to command respect here and appreciation, adoration, admiration. You'll be irritated if you don't receive those things. Okay, so all right, that's our moon situation. We have moon in trine with Mercury, and Mercury is in Aries in a fire sign. Mercury is that planet of communication. So just in general, like the way that we're interacting with people on this day, there's a lot of fire energy. There's a lot of like dynamic conversations. It's very excited. It's very adventurous. It's very passionate. It's creative. This is very good for any kind of artistic expression, whether it's through writing or music or making something or designing something. There's a lot of excitement here. And it brings lots of emotional fulfillment and just fulfilling like connections with the people we're interacting with in our relationships. We do have one challenging one, which is moon opposite Pluto. You'll see moon down here and then Pluto up here. This does bring some emotional intensity, and the fact that moon is in a fire sign, I mean, it'll be expressed. How about that? It's not like bottled up and kept, neatly, tightly inside. No. It's out there. So there is usually some dynamic, like power dynamics that we deal with Pluto in opposition with moon, maybe needing to like control a situation or feeling overwhelmed because somebody is being a bit domineering towards you. There is an aversion towards that, basically. But this can ignite more passion with this opposition with Pluto. It could also create more fear as well, or jealousy, for example. So just expect, an intensification of your feelings, amplification of your feelings on this day. All right. Now we have Mercury conjunct Venus. That is nice, adding to, I'm talking about like all this passion and exuberance in our communication and connection with people. So that's going to stimulate that even more here with Mercury 1 degree away from Venus. I will say, remember, Venus is in retrograde. So with Venus being in retrograde, there is like a reevaluating of, what we actually care about. What do you value? What's worth your time and your money and your energy? And also, who are the people that are worth your time as well? So there's going to be, with Mercury there, it's that reevaluation of this and just trying to get a bit more clarity and in knowing what is true for you today, like that's going to be enhanced with Mercury being right next to it. I will say though, that will change when Mercury goes retrograde, and they will both be going retrograde together. Lovely. All right. So moving on, we have also Mars trine Saturn. So because Sun and Saturn are right next to each other, they're both in trine. Love this. We have this till April 25th. Like the sun's going to move fast, but Saturn moves slowly. So that's why this trine is going to be hanging out for over a month now. So April 25th, we got this. What I like about this aspect is that it is strong sense of determination. It's focus. It's practically and actively pursuing our goals. This is hardworking. This is persistent. This is planning and executing tasks very effectively. This is drive, energy. This is follow through to completion. Because like Saturn is super detailed, right? And wants to finish things. And then you have Mars that gives you the energy to do so. And now Mars is direct. It was in retrograde before, but now it's direct. So that's wonderful. That's lovely. And then eventually it will be getting into Leo. We are still in Cancer, though, which can weaken Mars a bit because it is not its favorite sign. It doesn't want to be, drenched in water, this fiery planet. Okay, so then we have Saturn also sextile Uranus. So how great is that? This Saturn has a great communication with a conversation with Mars, and now it also has a great conversation with Uranus. And I really appreciate this because this is a harmonious blend, the Saturn-Uranus sextile, a harmonious blend between innovation and structure. So, we're all going through so many changes personally. And what I like about this is it's helping us to set new routines, set new structures into our lives, and creating and being disciplined about it. Sometimes when we start something new, it like doesn't stick. Do you have that experience? You're like, oh, you have this great intention. I'm going to do this, this, and that. I'd love to do this, multiple times a week, blah, blah, blah. And then it's gone, poof, right? Whereas with Saturn having this, it's like, oh, Uranus is bringing something groundbreaking, something new, something better, something that is more optimal, that is more efficient, more effective, right? Better for you. It's going to evolve you, grow you, and Saturn makes it stick. Saturn makes it stick. So it's not, here today, gone tomorrow. So I really, really love this. Enjoy this. Whatever you intend, like new things you want to bring in and implement, like you have this window that brings it in and makes it stay. So, okay. So very good for like effective problem solving, and also adjusting to new methods, adjusting to new opportunities, and explore just unconventional ways towards some, your work or your family or something different that is going to make it better. It's always to make it better when we're dealing with a sextile here. All right. Those are our Monday energies that, like I said, many of them, like this one is till September 15th. All right. This Saturn sextile Uranus. Thank you, because you remember we are entering this whole new world with all these outer planets going into different signs, fire and air signs that are a bit more erratic compared to water and earth signs, right? And so with this humongous like matrix change, landscape change, and there's a different background. It's a different setup. Like if you're at a play, at a theater, completely different setup, different background, new scene. And all of this happens into the summer, but we have this Saturn sextile Uranus all the way into September 15th, to help us ease into this change and settle into this change in a powerful and effective way. So as you can see, you're not just like, hey, world's changing, tough, deal with it. There's also this supportive energy that is available to us as we transition. Oh, sweetness. Love it. Okay, I'm going to move on. Let's go on to Tuesday. Remember, stick around because we've got an eclipse and we have Mercury retrograde to discuss as well. There we go. Here's Tuesday. So on Tuesday, there's only one thing that I'm going to point out because the moon is still in Leo and everything else is moving slow. So they're pretty much in the same positions. But with this one, we have Moon square Uranus. Right here is Moon square Uranus. That can bring some emotional volatility. That can bring unexpected situations that really alter your mood of going from, one feeling and mood to the complete opposite. So just understand that that could happen. All right. It can also bring like this desire to break free as well, break free from routine, doing something a bit more thrilling and exciting. So kind of breaking away from monotony and doing something different in general. So that's pretty much it. Now, Wednesday is also, the only thing I want to talk about is the fact that moon is in Virgo. And that's all. So moon in Virgo, moon is in now an earth sign. It's ruled by Mercury. Here, there is practicality, there is attention to detail, there is a need to work hard, there is a need to be of service. Moon in Virgo is very picky, it's very analytical, it likes things perfect, it likes things ordered and, like alphabetized, like things need to have some sort of system about it. So another thing that Virgo is associated with is detoxing and purification. That's why like clutter clearing is a great practice when moon is in Virgo. So doing things that are cleansing in nature. I mean, seriously, trust me, go try to like clean a closet during moon in Virgo. It is the most satisfying experience ever. So enjoy that. And then also like doing things with your hands, making things, cooking, for example, because you're dealing with earthy elements like vegetables, grains, fruits, etc. So anything that is related to the earth is going to be very supportive. So the thing we have to be careful of is perfectionism and being a little bit obsessive about the details. So that's the only thing to be cautious of with moon in Virgo. Now, Thursday, I'm like going along because we've got, two major events to cover. This is on the 13th and we have Venus that is getting close to Neptune. Just know that your sense of imagination, your creativity, your visions, your visuals, your dreams, all of this is only just getting amplified more and more. We're in a season of creativity, as you can see, because of all of this Pisces action. And then we're going to be having our eclipse that really touches on the Pisces sector of our chart as well. So our moon is still going to be in Virgo on Friday, and Friday is the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo, and it is a South Node eclipse. So let's talk about all of these things. Remember I was talking about, see this North or South Node and North Node, they kind of look like headphones, and this one looks like upside down headphones. These are the points of the ecliptic. This is what indicates when an eclipse is happening. So when we've got moon next to it, there's an eclipse happening. Okay, that's how we know. And and I put this to the exact time just so you know, like they'll say it as, the 13th, 14th eclipse. It's basically happening Thursday night on the 13th, but in the wee hours of the night. So it's technically on Friday the 14th. It is happening at 2:59 Eastern time. Okay, 2:59 Eastern time. So it's in the middle of the night. You do not need to be doing any kind of ritual or etc. Around the eclipse. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I spelled eclipse wrong. I put an extra L there. But you don't need to be doing anything because the eclipse energy is so strong and it is so powerful. It is shit's getting done. No matter what you do, it's happening. Okay, it's unavoidable. So let's talk about this. When we have the moon next to a node, that tells us what type of eclipse this is. And so this is a South Node Lunar Eclipse, South Node Virgo Lunar Eclipse. And when we see moon next to the South Node is more about what we are letting go of, what we are surrendering, what's leaving, what is ending. Because here's the thing about eclipses. Eclipses are great beginnings and great endings. In our case, there's more of an emphasis on the ending component, okay? Significant endings. And, this eclipse energy, we've been building up to this. We're going to see echoes of the eclipse like for weeks after. And so pay attention to what are the things you're really letting go of. Now, we need to incorporate this element of Virgo here. So Virgo, we just talked about Virgo. It's very practical, it's very analytical. It goes through a pros and cons list. It's logical, and it's pragmatic, it's realistic. Whereas the opposite energy of Virgo is Pisces, which is dreamy and imaginative and romantic and creative and intuitive, okay? So they're polar opposites in their energies. And so with this eclipse, what is being called is for you to start letting go of the hypercriticism, of the perfectionism, of the it needs to be a certain practical way. It needs to make logical sense. No, we're moving away from that. And instead, we are moving towards where the North Node is. We are moving towards, okay, what our intuition and our spiritual giftings, our creativity and our imagination. That is what's leading the way. That is how we come to the right answers and the right decisions, not using the mind to overly analyze things. There is a time and a season for that. We're not, this is not about like poo-pooing any type of energy because they're all important, they all matter, and they all exist within us. It's about right now, at this time, in this season, which energies are more prominent and what is the best method and the best way for me to be engaging and interacting with life. Okay. So for now, this Virgoan energy is something we are moving away from. Okay. Moving away from. Other things that Virgo represents includes our health habits, our health routines, like our daily maintenance routines, and just the day-to-day stuff. Okay, a lot of times it's the mundane things, cleaning the house, etc. Just day-to-day practical things that just need to get done. Your nutrition, your exercise, etc. Virgo has a huge association with health and wellness. And what is being like highlighted here also is what health practices or daily practices are you doing, or maybe the non-health practices, okay? What are you doing day to day that you need to let go of? What do you need to let go of? So there may be certain habits and routines that you're doing, that you've been doing for a while, that are clearly not supportive to the optimization and the maintenance of your health and well-being. So again, what are these daily habits and routines that are no longer serving you, that are no longer aligned with you. And what's great about eclipse energy, especially this letting go, is that it is easy to let go. I want you to remember that. This, when we have a South Node eclipse like this, it's not as like a struggle. It's not as like a lot of friction. There isn't as much friction. There isn't much force. It's just natural and easy. Maybe, like, for example, if there's somebody who has been smoking a long time, clearly that's not going to be supportive to the health, that it becomes easy for them to quit smoking. And I just want to stop. I just want to stop. Have you ever stopped anything? I remember when I decided to just stop eating sugar on a daily basis because that wasn't a very great daily practice for my health. I just like, I don't want it anymore. It just doesn't feel good anymore. I don't want to put it in my mouth. And so that's, again, this is what's supportive and helpful, makes it easier. You're naturally going to want to shed something. You're naturally going to want to let go and shed something that is no longer supporting you. Okay. All right. So that gives you a little idea about what this eclipse is about. And another thing to keep in mind, and if you can let me know in the comments below, sorry, my sun and the lighting here is all weird right now, is what house is this South Node lunar eclipse in? Because that house is going to be an important feature too of something you're going to need to let go of. You know, like, let's say in this particular situation, I'm just did a random, well, this is the moment of the eclipse. And we're going to talk about all these aspects too. But in this situation, the 10th house, just hypothetical, the 10th house is a career and work. And for this person, if they were born at this time, then basically they are going to be letting go of this intense focus towards work. And fourth house is the house of home and family, and more attending and focusing energies towards family and home. See how this works out like that? So let me know, what house is the South Node in? Also, Virgo, what house is Virgo in? And then I can let you know what area of your life is also you need to learn to surrender, or allow yourself to surrender certain aspects within that house. Okay, very good. So there's that. Let's talk about some of the other energies that are present. I mean, look at all these lines, these red lines, these triangle lines. There's so much happening with this eclipse here. And so these are additional meanings and layers to consider. So we have, first, let's talk about moon opposite Saturn. Now, look, these are all very close together, 22, 23, 27, 29. They're pretty much like smashed together. So they're all at this similar point, even though you're not seeing literally like a line over Saturn, but it is Saturn. Because think about it. Look, moon is 23 degrees of Virgo. Sun is 23 degrees of Virgo 23 degrees of Pisces because it's a full moon. But then look at Saturn is only 1 degree away from sun. So it's 22, 23. Okay. So it's pretty much in opposition. Anything within that 10 degree orb, you're going to see some aspects here. So here there's a little bit of tension between, like, emotionally what you want. I'm going to move over a little bit here. A little tension between emotionally what you want and some of your responsibilities. You might feel some restrictions, because Saturn can make you feel restricted. It can make you feel isolated as well in the process. But on the positive side, because when you have oppositions, there's challenges, and then there's also really helpful things that it provides too, is that it brings a lot of emotional maturity and resilience, which those are nice features to have when you're going through a major shedding and a major letting go. There will be a lot of lessons around discipline and patience and setting of healthy boundaries that are being highlighted right now too. We do have moon. So moon is in trine with Uranus, but it's also in sextile with Sun and Saturn. So Uranus is a huge feature of this eclipse. Remember when I talked about Uranus earlier? I talked about Uranus and Saturn earlier. This planet influencing in a positive way the sun and the moon shows us that we are indeed going through a major up level. We are indeed going through a major breakthrough evolution that's undeniable. And instead of it creating just chaos in our lives, we are going to be able to integrate these changes very easily, very harmoniously. This also enhances our intuition too, especially with Uranus and trine with the moon. This is going to help us to feel very comfortable with the change. Like I said earlier, ease us into the change and adapt, help us to adapt very easily to new situations. So we're going to we're embracing the change. We're welcoming the change. We desire and crave the change and innovation. I mean, come on, the world. It's so annoying sometimes. Society, the news, everything is just too much. It's so annoying. We need something different, please. Something different. We also have moon opposite Neptune. And this is where, okay, positive expression, heightened empathy, heightened intuition, heightened sensitivity, heightened imagination, creativity. You heard me say these things over and over again. And then the difficult thing is it can bring a little bit of confusion, tending a little bit towards fantasy and escapism. So we need to be careful with some of our escape type habits because we can kind of get lost into them. So be careful of that. And this is going to bring those vivid dreams and imagination and even your ability to see into the future. If you have gifts of prophecy and seeing what's coming up ahead, that will also be heightened. Okay. So just know that change, it's going to be easy to implement. It's going to be easy to implement. It's going to be easy to break away from the old, break away from the constraints of the old. I mean, it is like a trap, a prison, and we are shedding that out, and it'll be easier. Uranus here, the way that's interacting with the moon and the sun and Saturn, it's going to make it really easy to just take it off. Like, I don't want it anymore. I'm done. I'm so over it. I'm so over it. I'm ready for new. Okay. We talked a lot about all of these Piscean things earlier on Monday. All of those, again, are amplified and magnified here in this lunar eclipse. Perfect. Now, next order of business. We have Mercury going retrograde on Saturday. So we got our eclipse in the middle of Thursday night to Friday, and then we have Mercury retrograde on Saturday. You will notice right here, here's Mercury, 9 degrees of Aries. If you look at the day before, you'll see how this is back on Friday. You see how Mercury is at 9 degrees of Aries, but the number is black. When it's black like that, that's indicative that it is going forward. But then, I mean, it's still going forward. It's based upon the viewpoint from the Earth, it looks like it's going backwards. But whenever a planet is in retrograde, understand that it is actually really close to the Earth, and its pace is slowing down, especially on the day that it stations. It is the slowest. I mean, it stations. It's like stopped, essentially. So super, super slow. So then we feel Mercury more at the station retrograde and the station direct, and so when it's in retrograde, it's closer to the Earth, so it's impacting us more, and it's slower in its movement. So we have it at 9 degrees of Aries going retrograde, and it's right next to Venus too. Now, what does Mercury represent? It represents communication. So this could be literal, like, communication with people via in-person conversation, phone calls, texts, emails, all of that. It's also technology, so our computers and our phones and equipment, things that use technology. There's transportation, so travel. So whether it's via cars or planes or trains or subways or whatever you use, so transportation, it can be affected. And then also trade and commerce, it's business, negotiations, and buy, sell, trade, all of that. Now, what happens at retrograde is that these areas, these topics here tend to have some delays, some setbacks, slowdowns, challenges to your schedule, and also travel delays, technological glitches, problems, also miscommunication, misunderstandings. And then on top of that, it's an Aries, which is ruled by Mars. It's fire sign. And one thing we need to be careful is, in the way that we communicate, not to be so like haste, not to be so rash and like just speak before you think. In a retrograde, you really want to reevaluate, revisit, okay, rethink, like reanalyze, go through, maybe like before you shoot off an email or a text message real quick, take a second, make sure you're saying it the way you intend it to be heard or understood as well. So just take your time in your communication, and also expect issues with traveling, with your schedules, things coming up that are just slowing things down. So, so that you're not surprised. And it's going to be in retrograde for a few weeks. So we're going to have this for quite a while. I think it's going to also dip back into Pisces too. But for now, it's in Aries. Let me see if I move here, if it's better. Not really. Oh my God. This is like the worst time to record now that I know. Okay, so I'm going to be just right in the corner here. And with this being next to Venus, this means that in our relationships, there could be some tension and impatience and like snapping and irritability and just fights and arguments and disagreements. So please like think before you speak. That's going to be the big message here. We don't want to say things we don't mean. And Mars is like weapons and knives and cutting and sharp. So we want to make sure that our speech and what we say isn't like, stabbing somebody in the heart, for example. I don't mean to be so dramatic, but like, that's just an expression of how this can go badly if you are not careful here. Okay. Let me see if there's anything else. We do have, Moon is in Libra though. Moon did move into Libra, which I think that's a really nice positive thing that we have. However, it is in opposition. So here, like sometimes our emotional needs and the needs of our partners that could be in conflict, that could be tense there. But Moon ultimately though in Libra really wants peace and harmony and everybody getting along. So hopefully Moon over here really overpowers some of the snappiness and the aggressiveness that we've got going between Mercury and Venus in retrograde in Aries. Oh my goodness, I just worry about people saying things that they don't really mean. That's one thing we really need to be cautious of here. Moon though is in trine with Jupiter, which is nice. Okay, that brings a bit more optimism and hopefulness and joy and compassion here. So at least we've got that going. And Moon in Libra, it's a very like loving place. It's let's everybody come together, let's gather around, and kind of more of a kumbaya sensation with Moon in Libra. But Moon in Libra is not going to be there forever. Moon in Libra is only there for like a couple of days, and then we're still left with Mercury and Venus in retrograde in Aries because these move a lot slower than that. We also have Moon trine Pluto. This is great for self-reflection, self-awareness, emotional depth in transformation. So you could have some very like real, serious, deep conversations, because the thing with Aries is that Aries is direct in its communication, and it is like just cutting to the chase, like cutting to the meat of the matter here, and so it's not it's very direct, because Mars is just go for it, right? So it's a very direct, so you can have very deep, direct, penetrating, transformative conversations here. Opposites can be positive or negative, or a combination of both, could be a combination of both for sure. So, yeah, if there's a call for conversation, I just say, take your time in the way that you say things, in the way that you present things, and making sure you are saying things that is also, well, at least Moon here in Libra, it's compassionate and it's peace causing. I mean, you can still be very honest and truthful, yet be very respectful and peaceful and harmonious about it. Makes sense? Okay. Now, last thing is on Sunday. Sunday, I only have a couple things to mention. You know, we're all just settling into this Mercury retrograde here, but Moon is in square with Mars. So then that brings more irritability and a little frustration, possibly anger, possibly just being a bit aggressive. It can also bring passion. It can bring passion too. We don't have the opposition anymore to Mercury and Venus. And I did want to mention here this Mercury and Moon opposition, it can lead to some misunderstandings. That's why I'm saying, like, really take your time and slow down. I mean, I personally would pause on serious conversations unless, like, you can't avoid it. But I think there are better seasons and times for that personally than on Saturday when it stations direct. I'm keeping Saturday real calm and chill. I'm not there to stir issues. I don't want to create drama. Like, I'm just gonna take it easy on Saturday and just to give you an idea. But Sunday, yeah, Sunday can bring either a lot of passion or a lot of irritation. So to continue on this, Saturday conversation, we do have Venus in sextile to Pluto. This does bring some depth to our relationships and transformative energies to our relationships. I would say this would be a better day to have deeper conversations. I think this Venus sextile Pluto is going to be very helpful here. But like, there's potential for growth within your relationships here, and healing within the relationships too. Okay, so that's it. Just keep in mind, eclipse is the major event, as well as Mercury retrograde. And the Mercury retrograde is going to be around for a few weeks, and the eclipse echoes for a couple of weeks. So there's a lot of activity, even if you don't necessarily notice something well in the middle of the night. But as the days pass and into next week, you're probably going to start feeling that eclipse energy. And we have another eclipse later on at the end of the month. And then we also have another major event of Neptune going into Aries. You see how Neptune right here is at 29 degrees? This is the last degree of Pisces. So it's inching its way. But remember, it stays in a sign for 14 years. So it's going to take a little time. By the end of this month, it will get over to Aries. So you definitely got to stick around for that one, because that's a biggie. All right. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this forecast. And down below, there's a link to look up your astrological chart if you'd like to know how yours is arranged with the houses and the signs and the planets. And then also, if you'd love to experience more corrections and mitigations and supportive tools and techniques for all of the energies that us empaths are affected by and influenced by, check out the Rise and Thrive community that I have. There are so many tools and offerings there. We'll link that down below as well. And make sure to like and subscribe, share away, hit that bell. Love you all so much, and we will see you in the next forecast. Happy eclipse season. Happy Virgo lunar eclipse. And let me know also what you learn from this eclipse for yourself. All right, we'll see you next week.